Welcome to Series 7, Restorative Practices Made Simple. Today's topic is Restorative Practices Welcome Back. This is a circle of support and accountability, also known as a reentry or a COSA. So today, what is a COSA or reentry circle? Well, that means this student has been away from their original home campus in DAP, JJAP, or they could have been sick, or they could have been a migratory worker. We don't know, but they haven't been at the campus. That's the main thing. So we want to make them feel welcome coming back to the campus. So how do you make someone feel welcomed when they've been gone a long time? What if you left the campus and you were a teacher and nobody noticed you were gone? Nobody said welcome back. Same thing. Students feel that. So this circle of support and accountability does exactly that. It brings together the student, a guardian, maybe a parent or an aunt, whoever is the responsible person, a person in the building that's a teacher, a person from the DAP, if it happens to be the DAP, anyone who can vouch for this student as being a good person, a good student, or giving their best, or have tried to change, or tried to work on themselves. You bring them together and say, what can we do to ensure that Sally, Susie, Johnny will have a great school year, have a good start, a clean slate? And that is what this circle of support does. It actually takes into consideration what it is that has to happen. So Jennifer McCready is on our panel today. I am Dr. Gaye Lang. I'm the statewide director for restorative discipline practices for the Texas Education Agency. And I'm going to allow our two panelists to tell you a little bit about what they do in terms of circles of support and accountability. I'm going to start with Laura first, and Laura will tell us her experience, where she has been and what she's done with circles of support and accountability.
Thank you, Dr. Lang. My name is Laura Richard. I'm an LSSP. I'm a school psychologist here in Crosby ISD. And my first experience with COSA circles actually was in my previous district in Beaumont ISD. And it was actually just the week before the pandemic shut down and closed schools. And we had a fantastic circle for a student who actually had not been removed or separated from the campus, but the campus was very concerned about the student's trajectory. They had been in trouble in different situations. They were trying to work with the student and just felt that the student needed to see and hear the support system in place for them and kind of have a dialogue amongst all of us. So we had the campus principal, AP, behavior interventionist, two communities and schools workers, our SEL team, myself, a friend of the student, teachers, the parent, and grandparents.
Wow, that's pretty good.
It was amazing. It was one of the first COSA circles I've ever experienced facilitating, and it was just ideal. The student did walk away feeling a good, strong sense of support and felt heard. The family felt like they were also heard because they were also dealing with some things. And we made a wonderful support plan. And then unfortunately, COVID happened. In my current district, we just completed training all of the secondary administrators and counselors in this process. And it is a shift in thinking and how we're bringing them in, because reentry is a requirement of schools, and it's the presentation of COSA is it's more than a checklist.
Yep.
It's more than you've asked a few questions and move along. Good luck. And I have to say my district is very restorative minded and hearted anyway, but it is a shift. And we have had a circle or two with some students, and it was new. So we're a little bit on a learning curve, but we're going to have a formal process of this next year. And so I've prepared everybody for that.
All right. Well, I love it. By the mere fact you had it in Beaumont and saw such a successful thing happen there with that student, you have that story to share so that they know you're coming from a place of, yes, it does work. Yes, I have tried it. And yes, there is success here. And I think that when you come from a place of success, people are more likely to believe you when you have a story to back it up. It's not just from some textbook or something you thought of. This is the real deal. You did this. So thank you so much, Laura, for sharing that. Jennifer, share some of your stories about your experiences with COSAs.
My name is Jennifer McCready. I'm the counselor at Tomball Connections Academy in Tomball ISD, and we have one of our programs, that's the DAEP. 2 years ago, we started offering the COSA as an optional thing for us to do with home campuses, and we had some successes. And I think because of those stories, the district personnel overseas DAEP decided now it was going to be mandatory. And so now we bring over all of our home campus support staff for each student as they're returning from DAEP to go to the home campus. And it's been very positive. I think one of the greatest compliments I got this year was from an administrator at another campus who really, I'll just say, did not like this at first, and now is so on board. She actually looks forward to coming and doing these so that she can repair the relationship and work positively moving forward. And so it's such a shift for so many people to think differently, especially our administrators who have done these, had to be in the hearing that has the kids placed at DAP. It's just a wonderful way to repair that relationship. And we focus on strengths. We allow everyone to talk about the challenges so that then we can look at what supports are needed to overcome those challenges. The student is able then to express their goals. The parents are there as well. We talk about what we're going to tell people about where we've been so that the student, parent, and home campus is comfortable, because remember, our discipline history is private. And then we talk about those logistic things. What do we need to bring the first day? Who's going to meet us? Where are we going to go? How is that first day going to look? When is my first check-in with my support team? And I think what it does is it makes the families know that, hey, this discipline incident occurred, but there's so many positives that are coming. These are all the ways that people care about my student, and that student is going to be successful going back to the home campus.
I love that, because I think that when you get people involved, most people don't like it. Like Laura said, it's an adjustment, it's a shift. They don't like it at first, but once you really get into and see the value of it, see the success in the students, now it's an easy sell, because somebody else could sell it other than you. When a principal and assistant principal likes it and they sell it, it's not Jennifer or Laura or Dr. Lang saying it. These are the people who are boots on the ground saying it. Now that matters. It speaks more volume than I could ever say. I could train you all I want to, but if you never do it or never experience it, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And that's the beauty of the circle of support and accountability, making sure students have a fair chance to make it the next time around. Let's forget the past and let's start fresh here. Let's give you a clean slate so we can be ready to go. Jennifer, because you do a lot of these, do you think you've done at least 10 or 20 or 30?
No, I would say this year alone, I've done over 100.
Woo! Yay, Jennifer. And you've had support the whole time?
Yes, for the most part. You know, sometimes maybe a key player doesn't come, but there's always someone from that home campus there saying, I care. And that's what matters.
And so you see the value in it, and you're seeing other people actually finding truth in that statement, that there is value in doing this.
And, you know, the students say this in conjunction with the goodbye circles we do. They say, I've never been in a place where everyone said something positive about me.
Oh, wow. That is so beautiful.
It's powerful, because then they start believing all of those good qualities that everyone talks about. They believe it themselves.
Right. And if you keep putting positive in somebody's head, eventually they're going to believe it themselves. Just like you could put negative, you could put a positive. So we've had some really good experiences. As people listen to this and view this series, this is a big deal. This is something that when you get to this point in your training as a restorative practitioner, when you put this in place, this means something. Doing community building circles, which are tier 1. And then last time we talked about family group conferencing, which is tier 2. Now we're at tier 3. When you get here, this is serious business. This means you're getting ready to stand up, hold up, any students you can, prop them up until they get to be in a good place. And this is the time to start propping them up so that they're successful and they don't have to come back to a DAP, JJAP. You don't want the swinging door. Many of them tell me they go back because they were treated better there. So when the home campuses hear that, they're like, it's not the same, because they don't feel like they belong and they don't feel like they're cared about. But when you do a COSA, Circle of Support and Accountability, they actually see that you do. You show up. You tell them we care about you. And that's the beauty of the Circle of Support and Accountability. If you had to leave the listeners with something, and the viewers of this series, Tier 3 is pretty important. What would you leave them with? What was, if they said, okay, what's my takeaway of all the stuff that they've told me? They did all these wonderful things and the kids had all this to say and the parents were involved. If you could give them a takeaway, just remember this: from the Circle of Support and Accountability, 2 things I want you to know, 3 things I want you to know. These 3 things are the most important things you want to remember. These are the 3 things that you should do. What are your things? What things do you want to leave them with? 1 or 2, maybe 3, maybe just 1. What is it? Jennifer, what's your thing you want to leave them with?
I just think that it's a wonderful opportunity to give the student and parent a voice, and for the home campus to express their happiness and excitement about their student coming back to them. And I think it repairs a lot of the damage that's done when a student has to be removed. I think sometimes we forget how traumatizing that is, to have to move campuses. Even if we've done something that's against the student conduct, it's still very difficult. And when you can do something to make that right, it's powerful.
Okay, that's some pretty good advice. Laura, what do you say?
Well, I agree with what Jennifer said. It is such a powerful thing to have a sense of belonging and to repair that or to initiate it. A lot of times our students don't feel that sense of belonging in the first place. And this is really a fantastic opportunity to correct that. It's also something that you say to us in training, Dr. Lang, when we get to this: bring your A game. This is not haphazard. This is not because it's on a have to do checklist. This is vulnerability that leads to accountability, which is the heart of the matter. And I'm getting a little emotional because we just had, graduation. And at graduation, one of our students who did not have a COSA circle per se, but we did a lot of work with this student, especially last year, and giving them a sense of belonging, working with them, monitoring, holding them accountable, all the elements of a COSA. And they graduated.
Yay! It works.
It works. A couple of kids that we worked with in circle groups at our DAP and brought back and had a, sort of a pseudo accountability plan. I had several of them walk and graduate. So proud. And the AP told me today, my niece graduated, so I was at her graduation. But the principal told me today that when this one student in particular, who my father was their mentor, that's why so this one student is so dear to me, was a turkey all last year. But my father was his mentor when he was in elementary school. And when I started working with him last year at the DAP, I knew I was going to see him. And my dad still has a note from the student that he wrote him at the end of the mentorship. And so I took a picture of it and I said, hey, the first day I saw him, do you recognize this? And he looked at it and he read it. He goes, I wrote that. He said, oh, I wrote that to this man. This man was like a dad to me. And I was like, it is my dad. So that is the student who walked at graduation along with a few others that I'm so proud of. But the principal told me today that as he was walking across, he looked at every administrator and thanked them.
Oh, how beautiful. That circle of support and accountability goes a long way. I don't care what nobody says. That is the coup de grace. When you have to have one, I don't like that you have to have them. Trust me, I don't like the reason you're having them. I don't. But if you gotta have them,
yes.
What an outcome, Laura. That is such a wonderful story. And when they look at this video, people will be crying right along with you. Because it's
Sorry about that.
wonderful. No, it's a wonderful story. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud that you told it. I'm proud of your father as well. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank
That
you.
was
I'm so
really
proud of him, the student.
Yeah.
So proud.
Well, I can tell you, Laura's crying, but many people cry at the end of these, parents as well. I'm sure Jennifer could attest that some of the parents and students walk out of those circles of support and accountability crying, holding on to each other, thanking you for the time that they spent. I know that those experiences happen many times because that is the power of the circle. At its best, that is what it is.
And
So
they're tears of joy. They're
Yeah.
tears of pure joy.
I'm happy. These are happy tears.
Makeup smears of joy.
That's pretty good. So as we close out, I want to thank you all for being part of our panel again. And your experience is just worth gold, because I could do all I want to, but it doesn't matter if I say it, if nobody does it. So in the training, I always say, bring your A game, particularly for this, because we don't have time to make mistakes here. You're putting somebody on the right path, the right track. And if you mess up, you don't get but one shot, then it's messed up. And then the student can almost not trust or recover from it. You don't have that luxury to make a mistake. You have to bring your A game. You have to stay focused. You commit to something and stick with it. Don't tell them you're going to be there and not be there. This is where problems start. So that's really important. And the last thing I wanted to say was circles of support and accountability. People say, well, Jennifer, you say you've done hundreds. You know what they tell me? It takes too long to do it. I know that that's not true, but again, I could say what I want to. From your perspective, if you've done 100, are they taking you an hour each time, 20 minutes each time, or about 15 minutes per circle? What do you think? What's your average?
I would say our average is 30 minutes. There are some times when there are some serious logistic issues that we have to go through on how to keep certain students safe and comfortable. But sometimes if it's a standard return, maybe after a vaping incident, once we figure out when we're going to use the restroom and actually use the facilities for what they're intended for, it can go pretty quickly. So the fact that people say it's time consuming, it is worth every minute you spend because it just pays back dividends.
Yes. And you either pay on the front end or you pay on the back end, but you're going to pay. You're going to pay something. You may as well put the investment in the time on the front end and work well with the student so he gets back to the campus, everything is good to go, so that he doesn't come back to the DAP or JJP or wherever they've been. And if a student has been sick, it's worth bringing them back and letting them know we missed you. We cared about you when you were gone, something. And I think that sense of belonging goes a long way with students. I really believe that. Well, this is Series 7 coming to an end. Please stay tuned and listen to all of the series, not just 7, but 5, 6, 7, all of them, the previous ones, because we're going to go all the way to number 12. So we're on number 7, won't be long. Until then, keep listening. Thank you for tuning in.